watch this again. Let's watch this.
All I wanted was to fix my life. Now I have the power to fix history. Raiden warns me, I can't fix everything. Change too much and I could lose Vera, lose Jackie. But this power is bigger than us. If I think only about helping myself, what kind of officer am I? What kind of man?
Man.
Never
Not
been
black.
lucky.
Not black, yeah.
My family and I have lived the American dream. But most people who look like me haven't had that chance. I owe it to them to put things right. And I'm not waiting centuries for people to get woke when I've got the power to speed things up.
That's a powerful line.
That's hard, bro.
I don't get it right the first time, or the second, or even the third. But eventually, I knock it out of the damn park. My family's back. The world's a better place for
everyone.
Turns
Look.
out, you can have everything. Anyone who says you can't needs to dream bigger.
First and foremost, as a longtime fan of Mortal Kombat, I think that's not Jax. Jax has always been, he has served, he has never been racist that way. He is...
Wow.
Bro, I said it. I
Wow.
called it before we
Wow.
It was literally nothing wrong.
I'm going to bed, bro.
Nothing, bro.
Nothing
It was
at all.
fucking amazing. Jesus
Everybody,
Christ.
yo.
Bro, niggas is mad at some shit that's dead, not canon. Since when the fuck, bro, when the fuck is a Jax ending canon, bro?
Yo, they better acting like that's a part of the Mortal Kombat
Universe,
Like,
man.
that's really
Like
happening.
niggas is dead gonna be in the order realm, like we ended slavery. Nah,
But this is
nigga,
the crazy shit. Even if it was,
That
nigga,
would be
who
fire.
thinks that hard?
Bro, that'd be
What?
fire, bro. This shit needs to be canon now. Fuck that, bro.
That's fucking
Bro.
insane. That's fucking insane.
Anybody
Bro.
who dislike this could die suck my.
How they saying it's pandering? How is it pandering? He's
I think Jackson's the guy to do it because he's like, you know,
He's
you
a
know,
special
like,
forces.
He's the,
Exactly.
he's the that it's
it's not based on
it
him
fits
just being
perfectly.
black. I think they're trying to say like, oh, just because he's black, they're doing this. That's dead not true because Stryker could have dead had this same ending,
ass.
and they
Exactly.
still would have been mad. Because this is that special forces,
That shit was fire. I'm sorry.
It was beautiful.
That
and
shit
it
was
fits
fire.
with his character because in the last one he was dead fighting for redemption because he was
Yup.
like, damn, I became a demon, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And he that could like he said he did all this shit that he didn't want to do. This whole shit makes so much sense.
That shit is hard.
Yo, shout out
sorry.
to Ed Boon. That nigga invited to the cookout, bro.
He invited to the
That nigga
cookout.
invited to the
It
cookout.
feels like we're gonna be making this Wakanda joke forever. I'm fucking Mrs. Obama, I've done it. I've stopped racism. Jack,
People like the jokes is funny. We
no, he
here.
said Jax is T'Challa now. It's like Killmonger enters the chat. Peele's next movie, starring Jordan Peele. It was that I hate politics and video games unless it's something I agree with.
That was at a good ending, bro. Like, as I was watching it, like, as he was, everything he said was perfect. Everything was dead perfect, man. Like, there was nothing wrong with that fucking ending, bro. That fucked with it heavy.
Niggas is more mad at the ending of this shit that's fake than actual
Than
slavery.
actual
that-
slavery.
Yeah,
that
that's
happened.
trash. There's one person on Twitter, there's one angry gamer. Get woke, go broke. From soldier to SJW, not my Jax. Well, man.
Nobody loses if you undo slavery. I think it's just that simple. Like, who loses? Nobody loses. Like, this is it. Like,
Bro, in the ending, he literally says life is better for all of us.
all of us.
He dead said some all lives matter shit in the end, bro. He
And
didn't
they
even
still
make
not
it.
fucking with it.
Bro, he didn't
They
go back
still
in
not
time.
fucking
He
with
didn't
it.
go back in time, kill all white people so that they didn't do it.
Exactly.
Do it. He just reversed slavery.
Look at this nigga, bro. This nigga look like a fucking dickhead.
Those who don't know, as a character, guy who grew up in America, to our knowledge, never been to Africa.
What does that mean?
What the fuck does that
What
even
does
have
that
to do?
mean, my nigga?
What the
Why
fuck?
do people say shit like that? He's that never been to Africa.
So what the fuck does that have to do with him wanting to?
What
is the-
about me not being there
like stops me from caring about all of my ancestors. Like, I just don't understand that. That makes no sense at all, my nigga.
Bro,
what is he talking about?
This is about to be a long ass video. Cause
this
nigga's,
tight.
I feel like he's gonna say stupidity.
He's gonna say a lot of bullshit.
Yeah,
I agree.
Anything along those lines. I mean, for God's sake, in the last game, he wore a bandana strapped around his metal bicep of the American flag. And that's always been part of the character. And
bro, the fact that he's American, like he said that he lived the American dream,
right?
But that other people that look like him haven't been as fortunate, and so he wants America to be the best that it can be. Yeah. And so in the end, he literally says, "Oh, life is better for all of us."
All of us, including white people.
Right. Is that all of us?
This is insanity.
Didn't show him killing white people off. Didn't show him ripping white people in half, my nigga.
Nothing.
None of that.
Bro, that was a soft ass ending, bro. It was so wholesome that I don't understand how everybody can't be happy about that ending, bro. That just goes to show you that white people will never be satisfied with just like justice.
Yeah.
Like even if it's peaceful, bro, then this shit is fucking. It was peaceful. He did not kill nobody.
That's the crazy shit.
He didn't go revolt. He didn't go cut niggas' heads off back in the colonial time. He didn't do none of that. He just undid slavery. What is the fucking issue?
And undoing slavery literally hurts no one.
Why
that doesn't affect anyone negatively, bro.
Why can't we
let me know who that affects negatively?
Just the way that it goes didn't make any sense. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that it's largely pandering. And that, I think, is a big problem that I have. And 3...
who is it pandering to if it's good for everybody?
It's across like a white guy trying to run a black character without ever talking to a black person in his life. You know...
Huh?
What?
I want to know how many black people this nigga knows. And I asked y'all this earlier, and I'm going to ask y'all again. Somebody commented, oh, this seems like some white liberal shit that a black person wouldn't even say or do. Like they're making it seem like, oh, a white person had to write this story. Now, you as a black person, if you had the power to turn back time and undo slavery, would you do
ending
it?
slavery.
Without a question.
I would also undo slavery. Now, the real question is, if you go up to any white motherfucker that's rich, and they have ancestors that they were rich because of slavery, and you ask them
they're gonna be like,
the daunting question, would you undo slavery?
They're gonna be like, nah. Well,
maybe they would
be that
maybe
guy.
they would. I don't know. The question is, would they be honest with the answer? That's the real question.
That's the real question.
Like, I wouldn't have my fortune. My guy.
Any black person you ask if they would undo slavery,
he seemed like a nigga that never spoke to a black person ever. You can't find one black person that has a problem with that Jackson did.
I seen one person that was like, oh, I'm black and I hate this SJW pandering. But I don't even know if that person's really black, because you know that like they found articles online of white people that actually have...
Yeah.
Like, there's white people that like pretend to be black people online all the time.
That's true, too.
So I don't even know.
That's true. That's just them trying to push that narrative even more.
That white girl wearing a coat that on the back of it, I think was duct taped on the back of it, said, "Stay woke." And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the type of person I would think that would write an ending like this. So basically what it is it starts off innocent enough. Bad guy in the next Mortal Kombat game is the goddess of time, Kronika. And Jax beats her and then gets access to her time abilities. And of course, Raiden warns him, don't mess with time. This could have some very bad side effects. So what Jax does is he goes and he decides to basically right the wrongs of slavery. Now, that in and of itself is not my problem. Because if just about anybody, outside of, say, Richard Spencer, was given a time machine and said, you could correct about 3 to 5 things that happened in history that shouldn't have happened, what would you do? Well, I would imagine that most people would probably pick slavery as one of the 3, alongside the Holocaust, and then, pick your tragedy. You've got the Trail of Tears, the Russian Revolution, and the Soviet Union, the Boxer Rebellion, the Red Guards Rebellion, 9/11 being another one. And that in and of itself is not something that is...
Nigga put 9/11 up there with slavery. Only white people, bro. Only white people.
Who's never lived in Africa, is not an African immigrant, has lived in America his entire life. My recollection, if I'm right, Jax is from Georgia?
Okay.
That or Chicago.
Why is he putting so much
What does
emphasis
that
on
mean?
that? What is he putting so much emphasis
Bro.
on the fact that he's from America? Like,
Okay.
Oh my
White
God.
guy, listen, I don't know your name, my nigga, you know what I'm saying? But your
Micah.
shirt bothers me. But listen, let me tell you something. Right? You end slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you end slavery, we are not forced to then indulge in the clothing that you guys put on us. We can then enjoy the clothes that we created and we wore back before slavery was even a thing, which is why you see Jax with the sleeve and exactly with the dashiki and all that. So you
didn't even know
saying
it was
he's
a
an
dashiki.
American guy and he's a what that means nothing, my nigga. It just simply means that we can embrace our true culture
before it was stripped from us.
Exactly.
Nothing affects you whatsoever.
Jax basically said that they all lived in a multicultural utopia where it was nice for everybody. That's all he said. And I don't understand, like, it's fantasy.
That's the thing.
And he's complaining, it's not realistic. And shit.
Listen, it's a fantasy within a fantasy. Like, it's a game, right? But this ending is not even canon to the real story
It's
of
not.
Mortal Kombat.
So it's a
like,
fantasy within a fantasy within a fantasy game.
That nigga's a trip.
That shirt trash. We here.
Finally, he's going to create Wakanda by manipulating time.
Yo, this nigga. He's going to create Wakanda.
No, you know what I love, yo?
Yeah.
I love how people like how they see one thing.
Black person happy and they say Wakanda.
Yeah,
Like the fuck?
like they see one movie and they think everything that's good with black people now has something to deal with fucking Wakanda. Like, bruh, I promise you, there's been a whole culture before that movie came out.
Yeah.
My nigga, I promise you.
Wakanda's a black isolationist nationalist place.
Right.
It's not a multicultural utopia. So no, Jax didn't create Wakanda.
They didn't even like say that.
Like
that
it's not
wasn't
even. Yeah, but it's not even similar. What I'm saying is, it's not even similar to Wakanda.
Like,
because if it was Wakanda, it would have just been black.
it would have
people.
been just black
and white people would have been gone. So that goes to show you that white people, whenever they think of
Created
freedom,
Wakanda.
they think of isolation and they think of getting rid of the other.
Yep.
And so they think that when we say that we want freedom and we want justice, that means that we want to kill everybody else. Because that's what they see that shit as.
And
Because
that's-
in order for
and-
them to be
and
happy,
that's
they had
always-
to kill everybody else in order to be happy. So they think that that's what they mean.
That's
when we say
always
we
been
want
the
justice.
issue with them too, like, which is why they always had problems with Black Lives Matter, because they thought that meant
That white lives
that
don't.
white lives don't. But it's literally what we're telling you. Like, take this quote for face value. Black Lives Matter. It's that
Is that-
simple.
is that a projection?
We matter in the fucking. You know what I'm saying?
It's a projection of their own guilt. They're scared that we gonna start thinking like them and start killing them the way that they did to us.
Yep.
And that's what it is.
I agree.
Because this shit had nothing to do with no Wakanda shit or isolating white people. It was that a multicultural utopia that he created. He said we were all happier.
I agree.
Everybody was much happier.
This is crazy.
And the pandering thing is weird too, because it's like, you mean to tell me that Hollywood doesn't pander to white people all the time?
Every fucking second, bruh.
And so when there's something that's good that includes everybody and makes everybody feel like, oh shit, slavery was over. Now white people don't gotta feel guilty about slavery. Now
It's so
now
big
black
win.
people don't
Like, I don't
have
understand.
white people don't have to have resentment over slavery. We all happy the shit never happened.
It's
Why can't we
literally a
just-
win-win.
We can't just have a wholesome Mortal Kombat ending, one Mortal Kombat ending, and it's not even to a main character. Like, nigga, I should complain because Jax ain't even a main nigga. Like, this shit not canon. This shit not even canon. I wish this shit was canon.
This shit is crazy.
And it's dead not canon.
This is that bullshit.
If this shit was canon, there would be way more black characters on the Mortal Kombat cast.
Yep.
And it's a symptom of a larger problem. Because from what I have heard, the other endings in this game don't have this, like, don't do this at all. Like, Jackie Briggs, his daughter, apparently
Who's also
her
black.
ending is really heartwarming in a really weird but sad way. Because it has to do with her dad, you know? And then there's other things that don't have any wokeness to them at all. Like, apparently Kano's ending, you see, what's-her-face, Johnny and Sonya's daughter, Cassie's ass, like, in a thong or something like that. Like, there's different things like that.
So how does an ass and a thong have to not do with wokeness? Like,
I'm trying to figure out, like...
He completely, like, what?
Right.
Like, what?
He has this idea that Mortal Kombat, like a lot of gamers have this idea that just because Mortal Kombat wants to include other cultures and shit, and other ideas besides just the status quo, that they're pandering to like SJWs or social justice warriors, or like pandering to liberals or certain shit. When that's proof that they're not. He literally just said it. Is Mortal Kombat pandering or are they not pandering? He literally just said that Jax is the only ending that has a woke political message. All the other 24 motherfucking characters don't have a woke ending.
Multicultural.
So are they pandering or are they not pandering? Make up your mind, man. It's one character with a non-canon ending with a political message. There's plenty of other black characters in there that don't have a woke message. Plenty of other women that don't have a woke message. I'm just using his logic. Yeah. If the shit is not pandering, then the shit not pandering because of one non-canon ending.
I think that a lot of the outrage around Mortal Kombat 11 is largely manufactured. I think that people are getting angry about things that are largely silly. This thing with Jax is symptomatic of a larger issue, like I said. Feels like in the entertainment industry that if you do not do something that is woke in your medium for whatever reason, if you do not appeal to that area, you are up next for media crucifixion. And there's a lot of truth in that statement from Dennis Miller. I mean, he'd know better than anybody. A lot of people in Hollywood feel political pressure in that manner, and just in the entertainment industry in general. And there are two different ways that people react to it. Either A, they give into it, or B, they don't, and they give the finger to it.
Mortal Kombat didn't have to have that ending. I feel like there's certain forms of media and certain areas where we don't look for quote unquote woke material. You know what I'm saying? Like we would have never even thought about Mortal Kombat having a woke anything. Like we literally was getting Mortal Kombat to play it.
Right.
You know, fucking fight shit. Go through whatever story that they created, whatever fantasy that was, just live through that.
Right.
That was the, whatever. So if they didn't have anything woke, that wouldn't have hurt them at all. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, we wasn't looking to Mortal Kombat for that.
For black empowerment.
The fact that they did add that, though, I think, like, that ending felt like somebody was in there, like, with a real, like, okay, this is dope. Yeah, like, somebody that's really for us and, like, that really fuck with us went and made sure that ending was created. Other than that, like, they didn't have to have it, though.
Race was never talked about in Mortal Kombat, period. Even, like, the race of people like Kung Lao, like, I feel like he was played by multiple different races of people. Like, I didn't, like, in the first Mortal Kombat, I mean, in the first Mortal Kombat he was in, which was Mortal Kombat 2, like, I remember I was confused as to, like, is this nigga Mexican?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Is he, like, Indian? Like, nobody really knew. Like, and we would make jokes about, like, Scorpion, like, the palette swap was, like, slightly darker.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, oh, this is that Dominican Scorpion, man. But, like, nobody looked to that shit for race. Like, Liu Kang was the only person who'd be like, okay, I guess he's Chinese.
Yeah.
Kung Lao, like, besides his name, like, he looked like multiple different people.
Yeah.
Like, even in Mortal Kombat, like, Deadly Alliance, like, he didn't like look Asian. Like, a lot of the models looked regular, and I feel like for this Mortal Kombat, they actually went out their way to make all the models look different.
Yeah.
Like, Jax looks different than Jackie. Jackie doesn't just look like a dark-skinned white woman like she did in Mortal Kombat 10. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody dead ass looks different, and I feel like with this one, they decided to add more of those humanistic elements in it, since they put in the combat kids and they have this focus on the special forces, which is a human thing. Because before, when you thought of races, you thought of, like, Reptile, he's a Terran, and then you think of Nitara, she's a vampire, and then you think of like it wasn't even a race shit. Like, it was just like it was humans versus all these crazy ass monsters and gods and shit and fucking and like spirits like Ermac. Like, it wasn't even, and Tarkatans and shit. Like, race wasn't talked about as far as like black and white and Asian and shit like that. They did not speak about that. Like there was elements of inspiration from like Asian culture, like you know, like the Shaolin.
Like
You know what I'm saying? And with Jax, like there was certain elements of inspiration with American black culture too, like what he wears and stuff too.
Yeah.
But as far as race, like niggas was there not looking for this, and they wouldn't have caught any flack if they never mentioned race in this, because Mortal Kombat has never caught flack for race. The only thing they caught flack for was Mortal Kombat 9, because all of the women had like their titties out and they were like huge and shit. And that was back in the era where you got to look for the context of all the other video games that came out, like Dead or Alive and Tekken, where that was becoming a trend to try to pull more fans into this fighting game genre by having like big ass titties everywhere and shit like that. Like they would try to pull in these 12-year-old fans or whatever, these male fans. And then once they got to Mortal Kombat X, then it was like, it's not even about being woke. It's just about how mature, like we want to reach a darker, mature audience. You know what I'm saying? We like Mortal Kombat has a dark vibe. It's not a bunch of shorties walking around in bikinis fighting. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why they went with that, which is why I agree with him on the Frost shit, where it's like that makes sense. Frost is a cyborg, so she's not having revealing clothing.
Right.
You might get supposed street cred from your wokeness. Dear God, I sound white right now. And as if you can get whiter than being a pudgy white guy in a metal band t-shirt. But what makes this interesting is that this thing will eat anything. This beast of wokeness. And even those who try to appease it, you will get eaten by it. You know, there's this phrase that goes around among right-wing circles of the left eats its own. It's still true here. Now, if you starve the beast, it has no effect on you. It can't do anything to you. You won't play into its hands. And that, I think, is the wiser thing when it comes to...
So just ignore social issues.
Yeah.
And then you won't get into political discourse. Like, I don't know if I'm interpreting that shit wrong, but...
No, that's exactly
the right wing, the reason why they don't eat each other is because they have it how they want it to be. It's the status quo. Like, it's a white male-dominated society, politically empowered. We mostly have white males. They fear the change that is coming. Yeah. And so they don't want that. You know what I'm saying? The left is about creating a different society, and collectivism is about making the changes to society to empower the individual. You want to create the best environment so that the individual can thrive.
Yep.
And so the left is constantly at a war even within itself with each other, in holding each other accountable and challenging each other's ideas on what change should happen. That's not eating each other, that's just criticism. Yep. And I feel like people be so defensive about receiving criticism that they think, oh, we should just ignore it and then everything will be fine.
No.
Meanwhile, he's that here also criticizing. Yep. Everybody has a criticism. The issue is that when it comes to other people criticizing, everybody wants it to stop. Yep. It's like, I'm glad that this shit happened. I'm glad that motherfuckers is mad about this Jack shit. Because this reveals a problem within America, my nigga.
Every time something happens, it always reveals, like,
I'm glad that
true
people's
feelings
mad.
And true fucking... It's just ridiculous.
I'm so glad that people are mad. Because it goes to show that we can't have nothing, bro. We can't have one W, bro. Nothing. For society, for all of humanity.
And it's
like
crazy.
Jack said.
That's the crazy shit. He didn't even save just for black people. That nigga said.
You know that he never mentioned the word black?
At all.
He never mentioned the word black.
The closest he got
that was the most liberal, soft
like
shit ever. That was some soft liberal shit. It wasn't radical. It was like some real feel-good shit. Like, it wasn't radical. He didn't go back in time and say, oh, I fought in the war.
Yeah, like, the shit wasn't, like, aggressive. It wasn't, like, crazy like he did went and killed mad white people. He literally just went back and reversed slavery. Like, that's it.
But he says that that's feeding into... It's feeding...
How?
What is it feeding into, bro?
How, my nigga? I just want to know how. It's literally a story that's dead. Not even canon to the real story, my nigga. Like, I'm trying to understand. Like, okay, like, if this shit was about... Okay, let's say, like, the story mode for MK11 was dead. All about Jackson's journey to fucking undo slavery. Then we can have a separate conversation about it.
Yes.
But like, bruh, this shit is
One
dead.
small ending.
This is dead nothing.
Out of how many characters?
We
Like
can't
25,
even
bro.
have
I
we
think
can't
it's
even
25.
have the fantasy of the fantasy, man. Niggas is tight about that.
Can we
Hey,
get
most
one
of
more
these
thing?
niggas don't even play with Jax,
Yeah,
man. They go like, y'all niggas.
Fact.
Like, so somebody went out their way to find this and be like, nah, this ain't it.
Bro, who the fuck plays with Jax, my nigga?
Oh my god, this is crazy.
Feed the beast.
The beast of what? Of criticism? Of trying to challenge societal
It's
norms?
crazy, like how they like. It's like how they word things like bothers me, like the beast. It's literally
It creates an otherism, bro. It's literally what they do in order to make you feel like you crazy for like being inclusive. Like that's all it is. Like niggas is being inclusive. Like people saw Jackie and they was like, "Oh, Jackie is ugly." Let's look at how Jackie looked in the last. I think Jackie looked ugly in the last one because she looked unnatural, bro. She did not.
That's not it, Chief.
Look at her face model. Look at Kitana's face model. Tell me it's not basically the same shit.
That's the same face.
Is that the same model, bro? And which is what I'm saying is that they wanted
that's
to
the
create.
same face. That's crazy.
They wanted to create something that was phenotypically inclusive, not just slap brown skin on a model they already have and say this is a black person, and put these whack ass fucking braids on her, my nigga. Like these braids is that? What the fuck is that? That shit look like some shit you got at Party City, bro.
Trash. And you know,
That
like
look
the
like the Tyler
wax shit
Perry.
too.
That like the Tyler Perry Temptations braids, bro.
See, but the wax shit that I hate is how a lot of people feel like braids is the only black hairstyle. Like she literally could have had any other hairstyle. Like, it could have been anything.
Right now, look at Jackie in MK11, how she looked, and people were saying that she looked 11, that she looked ugly.
Nah, that's fire.
She's bad, bro.
That's fine.
That's fire. I'm sorry.
It goes
looks
to show you
amazing,
the
bro.
beauty
That's
standards.
fire.
What's different about this model and the other one? Her nose is wider.
Yeah, like
Her lips
this
is
looks
bigger.
like
her
a
skin
whole,
tone
like,
is
this looks-
deeper. Her melanin is
Nah, she
actually
look
popping.
fire.
She don't look gray and like
She look
fucking
insane.
washed out.
She looks fire, dog. Hold on. Nah, they wildin'.
She looks like Lupita a little bit.
That's exactly who. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Look at how much emphasis they put on every character looking different. Like some of the characters, they look a little funny. I'm not gonna hold you, but even within the white people, they vary their faces a little bit to look different. Like different, like they're from different parts of Europe.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that what they're trying to do is, because they had the whole special forces thing, they want to include a little bit more humanistic emphasis on the storyline too. Like, oh, these are all different looking kinds of humans.
Yep.
They're not just humans. They're also humans with their own issues within each other for different reasons. Jax brought up one of the reasons being race. Kano looks different. Kano got an issue with Sonya, you know, who has an issue with Jax. Like, it's different shit.
Yeah.
And I feel like they was just trying to be inclusive. And people were mad about inclusivity. About the fact that a nigga said, I want to end slavery and they out here saying that, oh, this is some white liberal that sounds like a black person, like they never spoke to a black person before. How, bro? Name me one black person on this planet that wouldn't want to end slavery or undo it, bro. That shit makes zero sense.
This is crazy. I can't believe this is like a thing. I
could believe
really
it.
can't believe this.
I could believe it, bro. I could believe it. 100%.
Like I can, of course, but it's like it's so crazy that like
You was not
that
expecting
ending
to do this.
because that ending was so like it was such a soft ending. Like it wasn't like, you know, like I said earlier, that shit was not aggressive. It was legit. Just hey man,
no bloodshed
we can
whatsoever.
end slavery. We could all be together chilling. And, you know,
I don't understand
you got
how
your
it was
culture.
pandering.
I got my culture. We chilling, baby.
I don't understand how it was pandering on it. Like they didn't go back in time and just kill all white people.
It wasn't even like he came back and he was like, yo, Black Lives Matter. And he had a whole fucking flag and he was like, wait, it wasn't even.
You know what's funny?
There was none of that.
He said, I'm not gonna wait till everybody gets woke. I'm just gonna go back and undo everything.
And speed up the process. That's what he said.
Right. Instead of everybody just being
That's incredible, bruh. That's
and
crazy.
to be honest with you, the ending, I see it as fantasy. But if I really want to think deeply about it, like if we really did that, if we went back in time and undid slavery, I don't think that would it would have happened. Like there's no we would have undid slavery, like not had it happen, and then motherfuckers would have still found a way to do slavery still.
Probably.
Because it's the attitude.
If it wasn't us, it would have probably been like another group of people.
It's the attitudes that the Europeans had toward the rest of the world. It had nothing to do with the fact that they did slavery wasn't the issue. It was the attitude that slavery stemmed from. That's why I said it's a very soft ending. Like the politics aren't like super radical ending.
Yeah, like even
that.
with.
But I'm not even thinking deep like that. Like I don't care if Mortal Kombat has some communistic fucking.
Yeah,
ending,
I'm just trying to play the game.
I don't care, bro. I don't care if
that's what I'm saying. Like even if they didn't
have
it, even if they didn't have it, that wouldn't have changed anything.
It doesn't change the story. That's why it's a non-canon story, bro.
Like this is nothing. Like this is dead nothing to the game.
All we want is characters that look like us, like everybody, bro. We don't want a we don't want a game with all black people in it. We just want.
You know what's crazy? You know what's crazy too? Like, and I don't want to go too much on the tangent, like like for other video games and shit. But I truly believe that that's part of the reason why, Apex Legends got so popular, because of all of the people of color. Like legit, there's the 2 black women who are arguably the best people in the game, and everyone loves it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a huge variety of people. We not asking like to be, whatever, but like just let us feel like we could do some shit. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's so many people that like when we want to go to like Comic-Con and shit, we want to dress up as people and shit, and it's like we don't have a lot of characters that we could like have to represent us. You feel me? And it's kind of whack.
And now we have a situation where we do.
Yeah. And now, now niggas want to be Jax.
Because
now niggas want to be Jax fucking Halloween. That's like, I'm fucking around be Jax. So that's my nigga.
Yeah, like everybody's mad because everybody wants to be Black Panther. Because Black Panther's like one of the only shit we have to cosplay.
Our only superhero that we could compare to the fucking top niggas out
right.
here.
Because it's crazy when black people try to like people be like, oh, you can cosplay as anyone. The skin color doesn't matter. Like, bro, black people have cosplayed as Starfire, have cosplayed as Raven, have cosplayed as different people, and they then get races that be like, oh no, this person isn't supposed to be dark skinned.
That's exactly. It's like, what the fuck? We can't.
Oh, this isn't the real Powerpuff Girls because they're black. They're dark skinned. And so we can't win, bro. If we cosplay a white character, we can't win. But then if there's no black, if we create black characters, it's also a problem.
It's also a
no
problem.
black chick can be Chun-Li, my nigga. Like the fuck, my dude Chun-Li got some thick ass stuff.
That shit crazy. Do y'all want to do another one?
Feed me these white people, bruh. Y'all getting me tight, boy.
I can't remember a time before now where Jax's primary identifier was just black. So the developers shat all over Jax by reducing him to his melanin count. The irony of this is astoundingly hilarious and sad. Bro, the ending wasn't about him just being black. It was about him being a black American officer.
Exactly.
There's multiple layers to Jax that would make him want to do something like this.
Exactly.
Bro, remember the ending. There was a crucial thing. Now, remember how I asked you, would you go back and undo slavery? Now, let's add something to it. Because Raiden said, if he undoes too much, if he undoes too much in history, he could lose his family. He could be at a point where they never exist or they never meet.
Right.
Now, if I told you,
it's understandable.
If you went back in time and you could undo slavery, but it means that you might not meet us or Bev. You might not even exist, bro.
I probably won't.
Because the mixture in our family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you go back and do it? Now it gets tougher.
It gets tougher.
Because it's the conflict of you even existing.
Right.
It's the individual versus the collective. Jax said as an officer, an officer's duty is to put their life on the line for other people. And so that layer of Jax is what made him say, fuck my life, fuck my kids, whatever. I have to undo slavery because what's right is right, even if I lose my life. It wasn't even about him being black because any black person that was in his shoes wouldn't have done that. Not any. Yep. it's more of a conflict. It's the fact that he was an officer that also added to that. And when he went back in time, then it gave us the wholesome ending, like, oh shit, everyone was actually happier and things turned out like I had my family, I had everybody, but now everybody is happy.
Yep.
All races. And so that was the wholesome ending. So the fact that people trying to say like, oh, they reduced him to being black is that bullshit, my nigga. Is that not true? They only paid attention to the fact that he was black. They the ones that did that. They're projecting.
Talking about the Jax ending, which is textbook what we used to call problematic. It's not a problem per se in that it doesn't do anything overtly wrong. It's a work of fiction, right?
I already know what kind of arguments they're going to say, like, oh, they're reducing him to being black when he's more than that. But
I can see being issues for a lot of people. In the ending, again, spoilers, Jax goes back and changes history, even though Raiden warns him that if he changes too much, he could lose his wife and daughter. But somehow Jax manages to go back and change history to mean slavery never happened. That's the implication. And yet he still has his wife and daughter back. Happy ending.
There's a part of me that don't even like white people saying slavery.
Utopia, where it seems to be a bunch of
I'm not even gonna hold you. Just them saying slavery makes me feel weird. I don't even want y'all to say that. Like, there's about to be nigga and slavery.
Say incarceration, bro.
Say something. That slavery shit ain't it, man.
Where it seems to be a bunch of black people in a Wakandan type setting, and I think there might be one non-black person there. So basically, Jax has created, apparently, a black ethno-state. I shouldn't need to say what's wrong with that. I think it's a...
Let me rewatch. I think I'm bugging. I think we need to rewatch that ending. She's saying that there's no black person there because Jax created an ethno-state, which is what Wakanda is. It's just black.
Yeah, let's watch it again.
Yeah, because maybe I'm bugging with this.
This is about this.
Because I don't think that's what happened. The only reason why you only see black people is because that's his family.
Yeah, that's that. That was that it.
And maybe he was in Africa, so he was never taken out of America in the first place. You get what I mean?
Let's see.
He said it was better for all people.
Let's watch this again. Let's watch this.
All I wanted was to fix my life. Now I have the power to fix history. Raiden warns me, I can't fix everything. Change too much and I could lose Vera, lose Jackie. But this power is bigger than us. If I think only about helping myself, what kind of officer am I? What kind of man?
Man.
Never
Not
been
black.
Lucky. My family and I have lived the American dream. But most people who look like me haven't had that chance. I owe it to them to put things right. And I'm not waiting centuries for people to get woke when I've got the power to speed things up.
That's a powerful line.
That's hard, bro.
I don't get it right the first time, or the second, or even the third. But eventually, I knock it out of the damn park. My family's back. The world's a better place for
everyone.
Turns
Look.
out, you can have everything. Anyone who says you can't needs to dream bigger.
Bruh.
Now, black was not mentioned at all, people.
Also,
This is crazy.
maybe I'm thinking a little too deep about the imagery here, but thinking from an industry point, everything is deliberate. The fact that they never mention black is deliberate. The clothing he's wearing is deliberate. They're in Africa, bro.
Yep, that's what it looks like. Because it looks like those are stores with selling
Now,
African clothing.
Right.
Look at the trees.
Look at the towers in the background.
Yep.
That's European architecture. What does that tell you? That tells me that the Europeans still made contact with the Africans
That
and cultural diffusion Because this shit look like the Freedom Tower in the background. But
Yep.
That's a fact.
Yep.
So
I'm
all
trying to figure
these
out.
is glass towers. So this is not necessarily saying like where they at. I can guess maybe they're in Africa, maybe not. But this is about his people. So it's showing his people that his family.
See, okay, so let's go before that. Cause does this look? Cause that shot looks like they like in business with each other. If anything, it looks like that was like the beginning of what he was trying to change.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't look
I
like
see
they
what
don't
you
look like they're like in trouble. They look like they might be doing business. He's
Right.
tipping his hat off. Thank you for the whatever.
Yes.
You know
So
what I'm saying?
like I said,
They look like they're working together right now.
So like I said, like my theory was right. I didn't even peep this.
That's crazy.
He went back to this point, like you said. Instead of the white people enslaving the Africans, they worked together.
They work together.
So they still made contact. He had the power to speed things up.
Tight, bro. I'm about to
This was the point in time that Jax went to.
Yep.
When white people first made contact.
Yep. That's
black.
exactly what just happened.
And so you see the
That's
European
why they have the
architecture
European-
in the background, but they still have their culture. They still wearing their garbs, their personhood, because culturally,
Yep.
what you wear is representative of your personhood and your culture. So they are not stripped of what they wear. This is all deliberate stuff.
This is
And then when you
incredible.
look at the trees.
Yeah, I was saying earlier.
That tree right there, I think this is a banana tree. Either a banana tree or
Look at the hairstyles.
it's some kind. It's not a. I don't know if it's a palm or some type of banana tree. But there you go, beloved.
That's crazy.
These niggas is in Africa. There's the palms,
That's crazy.
but then you still have the European architecture in the background, and then you still have their garbs. Cultural diffusion. Jax did not
This
get
is
rid.
crazy. This is crazy.
People react too quickly, bro. People
That's
react
crazy.
too quickly.
I didn't even peep that before, and now
I
that I
just
saw
noticed that
that,
because you pointed that
Yeah,
shit out. That
that's
you was like,
crazy.
wait a minute, they're not even like fighting or nothing.
Yeah.
He went back. That's the point in time that he. I
Already.
feel like now the rest of it is gonna be bullshit. Now that because she
now that
already got it wrong.
niggas peep that. Now
You
we
know,
know.
her first
Yeah.
statement is like, "Oh, it's problematic because he made an ethno-state," and that is the thesis
That's
of
it,
this shit.
yeah.
And so now I feel like the rest of it is going
It's
to be
gonna
based
be-
on the fact that she thinks he made an all-black ethno-state with it. It's no white people.
Yep.
First and foremost, as a longtime fan of Mortal Kombat, I think that's not Jax. Jax has always been.
Why are white people saying that's not Jax? They love saying that shit.
He has served. He has never been racist that way. He's
In what form was
Wow.
Bro,
Wow.
I'm dead.
Yo,
Good.
this
Wow.
In what form was this racist?
I'm going to bed, bro.
You know what I think it is too? White people don't realize that white people are literally the minority on this planet.
That's a fact.
Yep.
White people
That
make up.
is a
white
fucking
people.
fact. We are the majority here.
White people make up like 8% of the world population, bro.
Yeah.
And so if you go to even if white people made it to Africa, if you go to Africa, you won't see a lot of them.
Yeah.
Even if we peacefully contacted and white people was like, all right, we all gonna come to Africa, we all just gonna share all the great resources on this continent.
Mm-hmm.
You still wouldn't see that many of them because there's so many niggas, so many Indians, so many Asians on this planet
That's crazy.
that white people don't realize that just because you see 5 people in one picture doesn't mean, well, just to get it right, I think it was maybe like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It don't mean that there's no white people. Like,
I'm trying to understand where the racist comment came
Yeah.
from.
bro, I don't know why people want this to be Jax being racist. Like, they want it to be racist, bro. They want it to be like, oh, Jax hates white people. That's
Let's see
not whatever.
what she said after that, because I'm
He's been an overprotective daddy, but he's never seemed bitter in that way. And
nothing about anything that happened was that being bitter.
okay, you can't go back and make it so that slavery never happened and then keep the people who were
Why?
the result of slavery happening.
Why
We
can't
all
you?
agree slavery is terrible. I think a lot of people wish that it had never happened, but slaves were not immigrants to America. They were forcibly moved to America. and their descendants, their children and their children's children are native-born Americans. They are not visitors. They are not guests. They are Americans who partake in American culture. And so much of American culture was created by Black people that to go back and make this Afrocentric paradise, I know this is awkward, a white chick talking about this, but I know quite a few Black Americans who feel very strongly that they don't.
I wish we was on like
wanna
Skype with
dress
her. Like,
in
Word.
African costume. They are not African. They are American. Damn it! And so they'll.
Bro, American culture.
Yo, niggas getting tight, bro. Niggas dead getting tight, bro.
Niggas started fighting.
I want the hands, bro. I want the hands.
Well, I feel like people think American culture sprouted out of nowhere. Let's think of American culture. You think of all the music that's out right now. Who made pop music? Who made country? Black people.
Who made rock?
Who made hip hop? Black people. Who made rock?
Black people.
Right. If slavery never happened, American culture would still exist. It would just be in Africa. I can almost guarantee you that, bro.
Yeah.
Slavery did not need to happen for American culture to exist. We would have still mixed, because he just said it was a multicultural. He that said all people, and you've seen the imagery of the white people still making contact with the Africans.
It's just been less bloodshed and less bullshit.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I think white people are literally the only people who are comfortable with saying I'm American.
Mm-hmm.
People of color say I'm dead. You know,
African
American. I am, Black, Dominican, Puerto Rican, whatever. White people don't say they're French. They don't say they're...
Unless they actually came from France.
Exactly.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But you don't see them saying, I'm dead,
Irish.
whatever. Well, yeah, but still, like, they still all identify themselves as American because they are proud of how they are represented in this country. We ain't. What the fuck they got to do with us, my nigga? He's American, yes. He was born here. His kids were born here, yes, my nigga. He's still African American, my nigga. He still has a whole culture that his whole...
And he's like, she's like, there's plenty of Black people that don't want to wear African clothing or indulge in African culture because they're American. Why is that, though? That's because they were removed from this.
Exactly.
How are you going to completely remove that context?
Exactly.
The thing that people want what is familiar, what is available to them.
Exactly, bro.
You know what I'm saying? That's like if I eat McDonald's every day and somebody's like, hey, I think Monte that deserves to eat something more than McDonald's, and somebody comes, it's like, hey, how the fuck you know what he wants? He loves McDonald's. He goes to McDonald's every day. All right, but the McDonald's is dead right down the block. I did eat what is available to me, my nigga. How you know I don't like steak and lobster if I never tried it?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Jacks and African Americans have never grown up with their tribe, with their original culture, to know whether or not they would like that shit or not. So how you gonna tell me like, oh well, they're American and they have no interest in being African? That's all nuts. Indulge in the things that are conveniently placed and made available to us.
It's bugging.
Even if we go out our way to practice African culture, it's like, is that not the same as if you would have undid slavery and we would have been with our original tribes and we was born in that shit and everything?
Exactly.
They're not the same, bro. The same shit happened with Serena Williams. Not even Serena Williams. That French guy that saved, I think he saved somebody from falling out of a building or some shit like that.
What?
And he was
That's
black.
Crazy.
He was black. And when he saved this person, people was like, black excellence, this and that. It was like this black French guy. And he saved somebody and automatically everyone was like, oh, he's French. He's a French citizen. This and that. Like they wanted to remove the fact that he was black. And people was like, Nah, nigga, because if this nigga would have bombed the building, they would have been like, yeah, this is what happens with multiculturalism when you let Moroccan immigrants or when you let African immigrants come into our country, and they would have made it a thing for him to be black. But now when it's something good, you want to strip that blackness and say, oh, he's French now.
And I see where you was going.
And they do the same shit with Serena Williams, because when you say Serena Williams is an amazing black athlete, people say, no, she's an American athlete.
And also, when she just recently lost to, I forgot the young lady's name, but she wasn't even identified as black, but she is black, but they put, I think it was Asian or something before her being black.
Right.
So I get where you coming from, but it's like they won't acknowledge.
They selective about when they'll acknowledge somebody's.
Yeah.
Let me put it like this, bro. It's real simple.
American is mixed, bro. American culture is mixed with everything.
Exactly.
There is no American culture, bro. Like, that shit is all intermingled with everything. If you want to talk about real American culture, talk to the native Indians, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Because American culture is so mixed that what the fuck are you to say is American culture? Because if you talk about American culture and you think about all pop culture, a lot of that shit is shit that came from black people and Asian people.
Yep.
And white people too. But to be honest with you, like, it's not looking like that in the mainstream industry, especially when we looking at shit like music.
It's real simple, bro. Because this lady seems like she doesn't understand. So I'm going to make it real simple for her. Listen, sweetie pie. Check it out. You have to understand that in Americans' history, we have been stripped of so many things. Mm-hmm. Even our humanity.
Right.
We are at a place now where we are so proud to be what we are. We have been stripped of so much that we are at a place now that we are proud to say we are black. But on the flip side of that, we've been forced to identify as black because of how we are still being treated, how things are still happening to us. So we can't just act like that don't exist. Like, in the Serena Williams shit, yes, she's American, but she is a black woman. She is an African American woman. You are not going to strip that away and just say American. Because American is just a mixture of everybody, my nigga. Mm-hmm. Like, let's keep it a buck. Like, somebody could be, fucking Indian and be American. Somebody could be, Japanese and be American. Like, that shit, like, we all come from somewhere. This is probably the only place, that I think was created this way. Mm-hmm. That, like, they say that it's the land of the free, but, like, look how this shit was created, my nigga. This shit was created off bullshit and off, this shit wasn't just, like all the fucking, like the
it's like
natives.
They came here.
Niggas don't even really see natives no more, bro. Like, what the fuck?
Niggas come here.
The niggas is tripping.
Niggas came here.
What is American? That's the question. What is American?
Right.
Crazy,
they came here, said, "Oh, this." What happened?
It almost sounds like us calling ourselves blacks is like us settling. Like,
right.
Like, it's trash.
They came here, said, "Oh wait, there's people here. Alright, fuck them. Just kill them. We gonna bring all these niggas over here, make them slaves, and just build this shit up and call it the land of the free." Oh, they want their rights? Alright, freedom. Reparations? Nah, they be good. Like, they be alright, my nigga. They'll figure it out. They figure out how to educate themselves because they can't even go to school yet. We don't even let them go to school.
Don't call yourself black. You're American.
Right.
You're one of us. Get the fuck out of here with this shit, bro. Let's see what she got to say with her stupid ass glasses.
Why keep cutting ass on these niggas? I'm tired, bro.
They trash. Fuck out of here. Look at her fake ass fucking HD glasses. She got those fucking... Fuck out of here with that shit, man. Nigga, she getting me tight.
Are you supposed to drive with those, man?
Getting me tight, bro. Fuck out
My
of here.
media is almost full, so let's end this shit right here.
Yeah,
I feel like we addressed a lot of shit.
We did.
I feel like niggas that like I said, she gonna keep going off about how she thought it was an ethno-state, and so everything she gonna say after that is
I can't believe she got to that racist shit. That's crazy.
Yeah,
but niggas can end it here, man. Just long story short.
The Jax ending. All of this because of a Jax ending. Can you believe it?
It was beautiful.
It was great.
It was nice.
Beautiful.
It was fantasy. It was. But this, if we talking about real life, it was bullshit. Like, that's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Obviously. Time travel.
But it's like, bruh,
Come on.
why can't we like at least just cause what? Like the ending is like a minute and some change, bro. Why can't we be happy for a minute and some change and feel good as people of color?
The game hasn't even been out for a day, bro.
It came out today. It came out today.
That's
This is
crazy. Yo, is Almonte here?
We here, bro. Debo Dioso, man. We here, bro. Let's get it
Peace
going.
out. All I'm rapping here.
All I'm rapping, bro.
That's crazy.
That's nuts.